Could I ask you a few questions?
Of course, Seeker.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
My practice is mainly selling charms and potions with magic power, such as gree-gree and voodoo oils. You know, everything from unrequited love to wandering spouses to winning a lawsuit. But my spells and charms are powerful, and they work.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans is the center of voodoo practice in the United States.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve. It is the greatest night of the voodoo year. There is always a traditional conclave on St. John's Eve. Most of our voodoo churches these days hold functions in the church hall. But in the old days, they had ceremonies out in the wild. They wore animal masks and had a huge bonfire and dancing. I used to go when I was an apprentice. Sometimes in the swamp, you know, Bayou St. John. Sometimes at the lake, Lake Pontchartrain.
Do you have any idea what Cabri Sankar means?
No, I don't.
Do you know anything about Veves?
I don't know anything about that.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Oh, yes. She was the first of the great voodoo queens.
Tell me about the animal masks.
I saw them used once or twice when I was younger, but you don't see them much anymore. They're too close.
Too close to what?
Just bad karma.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? You mean like my beloved Grimwald? She's a python, you know, quite deadly in the wrong hands. I was trained by one of the great voodoo queens to learn how to hypnotize and handle snakes.
About Grimwald.
What about her?
Where did you get Grimwald?
She belonged to a traveling reptile show. She was being terribly mistreated, so I offered to buy her. She's named after a spirit guide I had once. The spirit Grimwald was a very powerful female snake priestess in Egyptian times.
Grimwald doesn't sound Egyptian.
I only know what the spirits tell me, monsieur. I am sure they know better than we.
How did you learn how to handle Grimwald?
I told you, a great voodoo queen taught me. She learned from Marie Laveau herself.
Uh-huh. Fascinating. How about showing me how you handle Grimwald?
Really? You would like to see me dance, perhaps?
That would be swell.
No matter what you see, do not be frightened.
I'll give it my best shot.
Gabriel grabs the shed snake skin while Magenta is otherwise occupied. Gabriel magnifies the shed skin from Magenta Moonbeam snake. The snake scales are hued brown. They don't match the scales from Lake Pontchartrain.
There. Truly inspiring, isn't it?
That's certainly one word for it. Do these symbols mean anything to you?
Ah, the voodoo code. It is very secret, yes. I studied it with my mentor, the great Queen Tabitha.
Really? Great. Can you tell me what it says?
I'm afraid I could never translate this code for an outsider such as yourself, Monsieur Knight.
Could I ask you a few more questions?
Certainly.
Are you sure you can't translate this for me?
As I said, it's a very secret code.
Surely you can see I'm trying to learn as much as I can here. How am I supposed to become an insider if you won't help me?
That's true, I suppose. Perhaps if the Loa were to grant you their approval.
How do I get that?
By using my Ask the Loa machine.
A machine?
Yes. A spirit guided me to it years ago in an antique store, and its guidance has never faltered. I trust it implicitly.
I see.
The spirits often work in mysterious ways, Mr. Knight. If you aren't willing to ask...
No, I'll ask. Let's see here.
Well done, Mr. Knight. You have earned the Loa's approval.
Truly, it's an honor. Now, about that code.
Let me see. Well, some of it is nonsense, I'm afraid. Whoever wrote this wasn't very good.
That's all right. Just tell me what it says.
It starts with a D and J. Then... okay, this part makes sense. It says, Conclave tonight, bring... well, then there's more nonsense. F-W-E-T-K-A-S-H. The last bit might mean cash. Fresh cash? Doesn't make much sense.
That's okay. Thanks. D.J. Conclave K-A-S-H. It's a start.
I'm happy I could help.
Well, I guess I'll be going now.
As you wish. The only vice is the absence of love.
I've heard that. Bye now.
Three nearly identical little girls are playing jump rope outside the station. There's something a little off about them.
Of all the things I could go to jail for, That is not going to be one of them. Detective Mosley. Hard at work, I see.
Yeah. What is it, you wanker?
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
There's been a murder.
What? What are you talking about?
Just listen. This guy's name is Hartridge. He was a professor in African studies at Tulane. Well, yesterday I went to see him about the voodoo murders case. He agreed to do some research for me. He calls me up this morning, tells me he's on to something big, and when I get over there, the guy's dead.
People die, Knight. Was the guy's heart ripped out?
Well, no, but
Then there's nothing to relate it to the voodoo murders case, which is closed anyway. The coroner will pick him up. If he asks for a homicide investigation, we'll do one. Otherwise...
But I'm the link to the voodoo murders case. Don't you see?
Look, if I were you, I wouldn't repeat that to anyone. Because if I weren't an old friend of yours, I might take you seriously and lock you up. As it is, maybe you should start keeping your mouth shut and not involve other people with this shit if you think it's so dangerous.
Crash is dead.
What? What are you talking about? I let him go yesterday.
Yeah, and I watched him die yesterday at St. Louis Cathedral.
At the cathedral? I guess he was trying to get a last-minute A-train ticket, huh? Poor bastard.
I think you should go find the body at the morgue. He was killed by the voodoo cult. Crash said...
Crash said? What, he mentioned pink elephants too?
Aren't you going to investigate?
Civilians. Did you actually see someone kill him?
No, actually I was with him when he died. Could have been poison, though.
Yeah, well, when they get the body in, they'll do a quick autopsy, standard procedure. If it's anything other than an overdose, I'll get a report.
How can I convince you to reopen the case?
I already told you. You still need to prove that there's a legitimate voodoo cult in Narland. Prove that they're a threat. Get me a lead on the cult.
I have this. Take a look at these notes. They're from Professor Hartridge at Tulane University.
Yeah? What about him?
They confirm that the pattern for the murders is of African origin.
This is interesting if it's true. But how do you know he had the right pattern?
You know those marks you found around the murder victims? This is a reconstruction of the whole pattern.
What makes you think this is an accurate reconstruction?
Well, I borrowed the partial patterns from your police file and did my own tracing of the pattern at Lake Pontchartrain. An architectural artist reconstructed it for me from the partials.
Really? So this is the whole pattern, huh? That's pretty good work, Knight. So that's what Hartridge used, huh? I guess his analysis is on target then. Okay, the murders were committed by a legitimate voodoo cult. You proved your point.
This is a newspaper clipping about a murder committed in 1810. That murder is an exact match of the voodoo murders, right down to the marks around the bodies.
This does sound like the same M.O. 1810.
1810. They killed then, they're killing now. Isn't that proof that they're likely to kill again? Or that they are a threat?
Okay, they're a threat.
I have these two snake scales. One's from the crime scene at Lake Pontchartrain. The other's from a snake in the Voodoo Museum on Ursulines and Charters.
Is this common? Do they all look alike?
Not at all. They're both constrictor scales and the coloring is the same. A python's coloring is quite individualistic.
A python?
That's right. Hardly an indigenous snake to Louisiana. Somehow, some way, the Voodoo Museum's python was at the scene of the Lake Pontchartrain murder.
Well, I'd call that a lead, all right. It definitely suggests certain lines of inquiry at the museum. Not bad work, Knight. Okay, I'll reopen the case. I hate to admit it, but you've done some pretty good detective work here, Knight.
Well, you know what they say. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Well, point taken. Glad I could inspire you. I'll check around the department, but I have a feeling I'm on my own. I'll be in touch. Meanwhile, you stay out of trouble. I mean it.
I'll try. Thanks, bud.
Now lay low and let me handle this.
Yeah, fine.
It's getting late. Gabriel decides to go home for the day.
Damn. What is it? What's wrong?
Gabriel!
I see it, Grace. Hold on. There's no one in the shop, and I know there's no one in the back. It's okay.
Okay? Gabriel, that thing is still barely alive. How could someone do this?
With a knife, maybe?
Oh, God, don't even start. We should call the police.
No, I'll take care of it.
But, Gabriel?
I said I'll take care of it. Why don't you go get some coffee? I'll have it all cleaned up before you get back.
They know where you live now.
Shh, it's gonna be fine. Now go on. Are you sure you don't want to go home? I could close the shop today.
No, I'd rather keep busy. I'll be fine. At least that creepy guy is gone. Not that they aren't still watching. Anyway, speaking of keeping busy... Gabriel!
I see it. Stay back.
Special delivery, it seems. Gabriel opens the envelope and finds a note from Mosley and a small brass key. Mosley's note says,
Gabe, I have to go underground with this thing. It runs wide and deep throughout the department and the city board. I'm already being watched. It was suggested that I take vacation time, so I am, at least as far as they know. Try to keep out of this. It's too hot for a rookie. Just in case, I'm sending you my office key. You might find some useful things there. P.S. I think this note will look great in the book, don't you? Make sure you save it.
the note is signed by Mosley. Times dated June 23rd, 1993. Gabriel finds an article about St. John's Eve. It discusses the day's Catholic roots and its adoption by voodoo devotees. In the early to mid-1800s, St. John's Eve was celebrated with elaborate voodoo gatherings at Lake Pontchartrain, Bayou St. John, and other sites outside the city. These days, the day is commemorated commercially in some of the local shops, and a few churches still hold a St. John's Eve Mass. Despite his better judgment, Gabriel reads his horoscope. Today you will either die, or your life will change forever.
Sure, why not? It is St. John's Eve. They'll be out tonight for sure. But where? I'm going out for a bit.
Be careful.
An abandoned car sits in front of the police station, one tire removed.
Oh, God. That's awful. It might come in handy. That dead bird doesn't look like an accident. A warning? All right, I'm going in.
There's a tracking device in the drawer.
This tracker might come in handy. The hell was that?
A new series of crosses is on the wall.
Let me get these new marks down. I should check this against the code Madame Moonbeam translated for me. Maybe I can figure out what this new message says.
Gabriel checks the two messages for duplicate symbols and transfers the letters from the matches to the new message. He finds that he has the translation for all of the symbols except for 3.
Hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.